Howdy, welcome back to PowerWash SImulator, where today we're going to be tackling Clean the Back Garden. This comes from Calvin Miller of 213 Walnut Street, Muckingham. Hey Doc, I hope you like a challenge because I'm pretty sure I've got the dirtiest backyard you've ever seen. That's not me bragging, by the way. I had nothing to do with it. I just moved back to town for a bit to help my folks who are both down to their last knee and rented what I thought was a great little place. Should have questioned why there wasn't any garden pics in the ads. They must have bred rhinos here or something. Anyway, my girls are itching to get out there, and I don't want them still itching when they get back inside, so please, do your thing. Thanks a lot, Cal. He first contacted us in the last mission, which is where this message came from. Is this the extraordinary Dr. PowerWash? I got your details from your friend Harper. I could really do with a hand at my place when you're free. So that's where we are. We're at Calvin's place, here at 213 Walnut Street. So the hidden quest for this one, according to our achievements, is to wash these 12 stones first. Not that big of a deal. The other thing we could do is switch nozzles. My favorite is the orange one. It's like a good combination between the red and the bigger ones. I've heard tell of people having different strategies. I don't know if they I don't know if they go with like the big sweeper and then check and then get some finer, grittier details, but I usually stick with the orange one. Not always, but sometimes. I'm also just going to take a peek and see if we can afford any upgrades. So own that one. 900 to the next big upgrade. So I suppose it's really a matter of, do we want to save for the power washer, or do we want to just go ahead and buy some of the equipment for it? I've never actually used these nozzles. I've used the blue ones. I've not used the soap nozzles. But we could get the extensions, which would help us out a little bit. It kind of makes it feel more powerful. For now, we'll just stick with it. We'll see how we feel by the end. Maybe we'll upgrade in the middle, but having the bigger, like, it puts the nozzle closer to the surface and makes it feel more powerful. Funnily enough, my first girlfriend for Lorraine Perez used to live here back in the day. Those were good times. Well, I'm glad for you, Calvin. Whatever that means. Yeah, his dirt, or his backyard, is rather dirty. I feel like I swap between preferring the detail of washing things in your garage or in other people's driveways versus actually cleaning locations. Because the locations tend to have like these big areas of dirt that you get to like experience doing this number, kind of like on the walls and on the floors. But they also take a little bit more time. Hopefully not too much more of your time, today at least, until you get as hooked as I am at this game. Still telling us how to switch nozzles, even though it's pretty clear we figured it out, I think. That's okay. Can't judge a game for trying to be helpful. Alright, the achievement for first steps. In the back garden, complete all 12 stepping stones first. Looks like we've done that. So now we can start planning our overarching course. Hey look, there's a cat. Alright. There's like a recurring storyline with the cat that I didn't quite follow the first time too. I'm not sure if that is the cat, but it's interesting that I saw a cat. Okay. So we can choose to start pretty much anywhere. I usually work from the top down, and we kind of started over here, so we'll go ahead and get the fence. We already got the stepping stones after all, so we might as well keep it going. This nice back and forth action going. This is where the bread and butter really is, getting to clean the large surfaces. And it's interesting to me that it's not like a super graphically detailed game, right? But they still managed to capture like the essence, the chutzpah. I don't think chutzpah is the right word. The panache, the whatever, the quality of cleaning, the wood grain, the vibrant colors. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I just enjoy it. I just think it's neat. And sometimes I'll switch between up and down and left and right. It really just depends. One thing I kind of relish to myself that I don't know that anyone would think to put a name to it, but I enjoy like when you're going side to side and you layer them up and you're watching the water dry and you kind of go in these rows. It kind of looks like hills or mountains. That's what I think about while I'm doing it. Is that strange? Is that normal? Who can say? We're just going by vibes here. But I will say that I find the mountains a rather relaxing place, so maybe it's fitting. Maybe that's why my mind goes there. Okay, the fence is done, the fence gate is done. Apparently that's all the same thing. Just double checking, we had a post here. Fence panel. Good, great, okay. Other thing I like are these thin strips where you can sort of try to get it all in one go. You may not succeed, so you can always sweep back up, but I don't really have that adept mouse movement that some people have. It's a little choppy. I try to combine my movements with my footwork, and it doesn't always go so good. But that's okay. This isn't a game that requires precision. Just patience. Just patience and a love of the game. So I will go ahead and get all the trim just because. Go ahead and knock all that stuff out. And of course on the sides here we have three-dimensional space. And actually I believe there's some on the bottom here. So if you ever find yourself stuck, always be sure to check the bottoms of ledges if you can crouch and get near there, because I bet you that's where it's hiding. We'll get the stairs a little later. Right now I'm concerned with the upper level. And we can work our way back down afterwards. I think what confused me, I see now that's 2 bricks. I thought it was clipped together, so that was my misinterpretation of what I was seeing. No big deal. See, now I feel like that was a pretty good arc right there. That felt like a pretty good arc. And of course, we'll go ahead and get back here. And while we're back here, we might as well, since that's going to be part of our cleanup, we might as well get the back of that as well. Just to be sure we get it all. I think we got our outline done. So that's defined what we're going to be cleaning first. Like I said, I don't want to use my muck grime finder or whatever it's called too much, so I'll be going back over areas quite a bit. And I'm kind of looking for the trellis to be... Get these subtle edges here. Blink and you might miss them. I'm telling you, if you're ever missing any, like a percentage, it's not clean all the way, always check. It's a 3-dimensional shape. They probably tucked some thin strips of grime somewhere, and that's kind of what I was alluding to when I said in our last episode I mentioned not wanting to risk leaving small spots because I'm not sure what the leeway on that is. See, like all those little stripes, I don't know if that would have been enough to stop it. I wouldn't think so, but you never know. So always be aware that you are operating in 3 dimensions. Consider every side of every item. Just get what you can. Sometimes you can get more than you thought you could. Which isn't to say you necessarily have to be obsessive to get everything right away, 100%, because it does have some leeway. Eventually it will say it's clean enough. So it's kind of up to you to determine how much you've left behind, how much you're willing to leave behind, and then keep in mind, like you can always go and do the maximum cleaning first. I believe that's kind of the strategy people use with like the bigger sweeping things. They get the worst of it and then try to see how much more they can and they have to get. That's how I'm kind of assuming the bigger nozzles work. Okay, I believe we have enough from this side, so I'm going to go back over here. Yeah, we got quite a bit even from the back side. Let's make sure we get the posts first, just so I can verify. See, it's strange to me. Oh, maybe I need to get... Yeah, there's some dirt over here. Always check the 3rd dimension. Another strategy that I like to employ is when I'm firing the weapon, I kind of put half and half. Because you can get away with kind of cleaning 2 sides at once if you focus on the corners. I mean, I'm sure you could have already figured that out. But if not, that's just a little trick for me. This place is already looking better. See, there was quite a bit over there and it just let it ride. So it's really lenient sometimes. Sometimes it can be a stickler. I think it depends on the size. I'm sure it operates based on a percentage. Trellis is rather large. It's got quite a bit of surface area too when you consider all the edges. What's up? Do you do bikes? I could do with someone running their thing over my deadbeat dirt bike. If you say so, man, I'll rub my thing all over it. So as our trellises down, Florane and I would climb up and down that rock garden all day, pretending we were on Rumblin' Mountain Rushless, and the pond was the crater. That's cool, man. I have no idea how we explained the fish being there, though. Me neither. Kinda trying to work, dude. Interrupting my groove. And these are kinda easy to clean. I think the most trouble we're gonna have is probably the deck area. Because you got all the chairs to consider, you got the umbrella to consider. It's kind of in the middle of the ground, so the floor around it's kind of a bear to get, but we'll persevere. You and I. We've got this. I see some of that dirt sticking around, so I'm gonna get a little closer. I think it operates on true pressure washer physics, at least insofar as the closer you are, the more pressure is hitting it. The further you are, the less likely it is to clean. Or perhaps more accurately, the less. Oop. See, I got this habit of checking. I said I was going to try to avoid it, and my finger just hit the button. Yep, undersides. It could also be the case that the levels are easier at the beginning as far as like how much grime they're willing to allow, because these are going pretty good. I think the first time I kind of struggled with getting it that clean. This time we're kind of rolling through. Already 25% done just about, making good time. I think we're making good time. I kind of lose track of time actually. The first time I played PowerWash SImulator, I'm pretty sure I blinked and 16 hours had passed. It's that good. I enjoy it that much. Okay, looking good so far. We have our boundaries defined. I feel triumphant over this grimy location. So now we'll tackle the challenging bit here. Honestly, I don't think I noticed the garden gnome. Is there a garden gnome? I'm inclined to believe, I don't know if it's the case, but I'm inclined to believe that there's a garden gnome in every level. Either that or I've just noticed them in quite a few levels. It could be the case that I'm mistaken. So don't quote me on that. We'll keep our eyes out. That's just like a little thing for us to hunt while we're playing along. I don't think we could do anything with it, but it's just a nice little treat to see. I think I would put him in the bottom of the pond. Or on top of the umbrella. I'm tempted to say the umbrella, it's like the highest point of the map, aside from, I don't think I can get up there, aside from the house. And this is where I kind of get, I don't have as much fun when I have to clean around items. See how I would like to tackle this is walk around without bumping into a million things. Just kind of cleaning from the middle toward the center, but that doesn't seem to be what the game would like for me to do. So we'll just crouch down, get low, so we change our angle a little bit. Actually, you know what? Just to be on the safe side, I think we need to get these little edges here. I'm telling you. You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying about these 3D shapes? That little paper thin edge right there could be make or break. So that appears to be most of the parasol. Yep. Okay, now I believe we have the parasol pole. And that's another thing. Shapes like the, I guess it's part of the pole. I can kind of see dirt up there. I was going to say it's a little more forgiving with shapes like that, but I think maybe I just accidentally cleaned it last time. Undersides of those spokes that kind of go up towards the umbrella. I may have just cleaned it while I was cleaning the umbrella. I didn't get the pole at all at the bottom though, so maybe some shapes are just more lenient than others. Next we'll tackle the table. And while I'm getting the underside of the table, of course, I will get the floor underneath the table so I'm not doubling up on trips. Make sure we get the edge while we're moving. while we're schmoovin'. Looks to be roughly 50%, so we should be good to get the bottom. As I said, I'm going to be cleaning these floors as well. That's just for efficiency's sake. No sense of getting down on my hands and knees to scrub the underside of the table, then getting up and doing something else, then getting back down on my hands and knees. I'm going to get it all in one go, yeah. Yeah, feel me? There is quite a bit of patio to go, so doesn't hurt to get a little bit of a head start. I feel like we've sufficiently gotten around the table. I feel as if I were to stand up, I would be able to get the rest of the patio. Doing quite well. So far I'm still feeling pretty good about our nozzle not upgrading just yet, so that's a plus. Although, I should mention that it is an achievement to have all of the upgrades for each power washer. Well, not all of them, but I think the amount of upgrades you need for each washer increases as you buy more power washers. So, just food for thought. I think the soaps speed up the washing, but like I said, I never used them. I know they're like a temporary boost. So by extension of that knowledge, they're essentially a waste of money. Unless you're going for speed specifically. Like maybe it's more efficient to clean them speed-wise. But I don't know. If you're spending money every time you use it, then it's hard to save money for the higher grade power washers, which is a better investment from my perspective. If I can get away without upgrading them until I can get the best, it's like best case scenario. I'm also getting the floor here, at least hopefully mostly. Big broad strokes. This patio is gorgeous. This backyard is gorgeous. Without all the dirt there, I'm sure. Let's continue working our way. The rotate feature is awfully nice. Go ahead and get the backside. Two chairs down, two to go. See, that's a little spot I missed. A cheeky little spot that I missed. Patio's almost a quarter of the way, or I'd say about a third of the way done actually. There's no real progress bar. I'll just keep getting over here under these chairs. So this problem area is pretty much taken care of now. And see, it's hardly a problem at all. Just another reason to love games like this. Even the quote unquote annoying parts aren't really super annoying. Those are my most precise movements, by the way, the sweeping. Combine a little mouse movement with the back and forth motion. Hey Doc, bumped into the park warden. He definitely needs your help. Cool, Harper, thanks. Sounds like we have a few customers lining up for our services. That's nice. The other thing it kind of reminds me of is like rolling a wall with paint. Because you kind of want to, just because the way the water dynamics work, the spots at the edge of your spray that sort of dot the water as opposed to applying a film, this creates spots of like mist dirt. So you kind of want to overlap just a little bit to get that edge. Look at this patio, it's coming so clean so quick. But I digress. We're focusing on the chair. It's easy to get sidetracked. So much is so satisfying about the game. Deciding where to start can be a challenge. But hey, no wrong answers, right? This whole area appears to be clear. About 50% of the way done. Honestly, I think we were getting more bang for our buck all the way on the ground here. Kind of putting it at an angle. At least it looks bigger from proximity. Make sure we don't have any hiding on the edges like it looks like we do. Not that it's been super unforgiving. Maybe I'm too focused on making sure that nothing gets left behind. So the next big challenge after the table and chairs is kind of this pond, just because of the rocks, cleaning them from all angles. They're all stacked up on each other, so it can be a little bit of a chore. But like I said, nothing game breaking. Nothing unbearable. We'll just slide right on through, I'm sure. Patio's getting wrapped up now. You can, the difference in the level from the start to the end. I don't know, maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea, but there's something about it that just charms the heck out of me. Just this whole place. Okay, shall we? For posterity, that seems to be good. I'll get this little wall here. Not that I need to, something just tells me that's the right thing to do. It's part of the patio, so it needs cleaned. Now, let's see if you can remember my tips and tricks. It looks pretty clean, but as you can see, there's a little bit left. Where might that be? One spot would be along these edges in the rocks. Crevices can be a little tricky, but the other place, of course, is up under the ledge, and you can see kind of a combination over there, but the biggest offenders are like these little downward streaks. They do add up. Over here it looks surprisingly green, which I would think was dirt, but I don't think it is. I think it's like the reflection of the grass. And now I'm kind of drawing a blank spot. Where would it be beyond that? I don't see any on the crevice down here, except maybe there. And the rocky texture kind of makes it difficult because it's got darker spots and it's got lighter spots. I think that's the grime right there. Yep. Just slightly off color. Retaining wall done. Now if I were being super pedantic, I would also need to get this and maybe the stairs. We'll go ahead and do that while we're here. We'll include that as the patio. And of course, after I get all of it done, it'll be the pond, since it is essentially another section of the retaining wall. It is at least wrapped up in it. If we wanted to exert some kind of logic on there, which isn't super necessary, but if I wanted to explain why the pond is slightly different than the patio, even though it's the same level, I would say it's because the patio makes up the second level and the pond extends upward from the ground level. So I would associate the pond as being the same level as like the trim for the flower beds. Even though it's taller, it's on the same level as those. Does that make sense? Like I said, it's not necessary. We don't really need to exert logic on it, but sometimes I find it more satisfying to do so. Just for me. I like to come up with little stories about why I'm doing what I'm doing. Makes time go by. Go ahead and clean off these stairs. We'll call them different elevations of the same whole. It's made of the same texture, so it's kind of part of the whole. You might think to yourself, well, that doesn't make sense, and that's okay. It doesn't have to make sense. It can make sense to me, it can make sense to you, it can make sense to both of us. It could make sense to neither of us. Just sort of having a good time. That's the joy of the game, no pressure. No pressure. Ironic. A little bit ironic, I will admit. It's a little bit ironic that the pressure washer simulator is about having no pressure. They do have a mode I haven't tried yet. The challenge mode. It's like a time trial. I feel like as meticulous as I am, I'm not going to be very good at it. But I think there is an achievement. So perhaps for the sake of that, we'll try it. I didn't see any achievements that were like earn the gold medal on all of the challenges, so could be the case that it's one and done, could be the case that we play through the challenge levels like they're normal levels and we don't really fret over getting solid gold. Could be nice, but honestly, I'd like to spend time in other games as well. PowerWash SImulator 2 we mentioned. That's just one game. There are other games, other chill games like this that I'd like to get into. One that I have in mind, I'm pretty fond of puzzles, and Escape Room Simulator, I think has 1 and 2 versions. And community levels we could get into. We could do House Flipper. It's kind of got a similar vibe to this. We could do, I'm sure they've got Leaf Blower Simulator. I don't know what the official name of that is. I think Leave It Alone is a shorter version, but I did see like a more in-depth version of the same concept, which could be interesting. We might need the step over here, so I'll just leave it there. Go ahead and get the doghouse. And that will be the last of our, I think, yeah, technically the pond rim. And that can be where things get a little rocky, because if this is this Dirt Finder General? Got your details from certain Harper Shaw, as there is an alleged dirt problem at the local playground. Nice. Saw my dream RV at the auctions, all creamy like a toffee pie on wheels. That's great, Harper. Okay. I wouldn't know whether to drive it or lick it. I would think drive. I'm gonna go with drive. Go ahead and get the doghouse. Then we can start. It's interesting. I also just like seeing like how much of the level is percentage wise, right? Like I don't do it for every item, but sometimes I like to see like 60%. I'm 60% of the way through. What does that look like? Like all this stuff combined was 60%, and it didn't even feel like that much. Oh, the walls are all one piece. Okay, I see. I was like, am I missing something? Yeah, the other 3 walls, genius. I don't know if there's grime on those edges or not. But hey, I told you, remember the 3D shape. I'm gonna remember the 3D shape. We'll remember together. It'll be both of our responsibilities to remember these things. The other thing I appreciate about this doghouse is they've given us a door on the front. Because otherwise we might have to go in and clean it. So I can appreciate that they didn't require that of us. Now I'll go ahead and get the roof. Roof's done. Doghouse wall, doghouse door are done. I believe that's it. 61% of the way done. So the next step is going to be, I'm curious how much of this pond is, because then we only have like miscellaneous items. So I would assume like 75-ish. Could be more. Like I said, these pond walls could be a little tricky. The floor is not so bad, but these walls could be a little tricky just because of how much detail is in the stonework. A lot of crevices, a lot of edges. So we just want to make sure to thoroughly go over them, especially the top layer, but also on the interior once we get there. Just want to make sure that we're pretty thorough. No guarantees, of course, but the other thing is like the wet texture. Like I know it's kind of silly, but the stones, even with their texture alone, the texture alone is like perfectly fine. Ooh. See, that's what I'm talking about. Sneaky, sneaky. If you're not careful, you'll miss some stuff. I glazed right over that. I just happened to see it. That'll be one of the things at the end, I'm sure it'll tell me I missed. Well, not that one specifically, but I could have missed some other stuff hiding. Now the nice thing is they don't count all these rocks as individual rocks. They are the wall. They are the pond wall. I'm not even sure if they count this upper wall and the bottom wall as two separate things. Let's take a peek. Pond rim. Pond wall. Pond wall. They look about the same, don't they? I think it's because they're connected. So, I'll tell you what we'll do in that case. We'll update our logical decision making here. I'll prioritize the floor, make sure that's clean, and then get the wall done close enough to where I feel convinced that we're good. I also like the liner here. I like the texture of that. To me, unveiling this texture is neat because you can't even tell it's there with all the mud and dirt, but once it's gone, I don't know, I can almost feel myself walking on it. I don't know that it would quite feel like asphalt, but it would definitely feel, I reckon, pretty nice. reminds me of when I was the texture kind of reminds me of like when I was a kid. They had playgrounds at fast food restaurants, and they would have this soft, rocky stuff. So I imagine it would be like that. It makes me a little nostalgic looking at it. Now this would be a point where, as you can see, I'm trying to get between the rocks. And it looks like I've gotten a fair bit of the grime. This might be a section where you have to tap the button, see? And I see I missed some spots over there as well on the fence. Sometimes you don't know unless you tap. Anywho, we'll finish up here. I'll go grab that since I saw it. Ooh, I missed quite a bit right there. Sometimes it can be challenging to see the dirt if the color of the object you're cleaning is naturally fairly dirty. So what I like to do here, and it's also hard, this is a different situation where it's hard to see all of the grime because it kind of looks like moss. And some of the stuff legitimately has moss on it, it looks like. Aesthetic moss. Maybe not, maybe the green's reflecting from somewhere else, it's hard to say. But we'll call that good. Make sure there's nothing else I missed while we're up here. Does not appear to be, so we'll call that pretty good. I'm gonna double check the step edging. Looks like we got it. Interestingly, I think that's the retaining wall cap, even though it's technically it looks like the edge of the stair. We'll let it slide. How about that? You can almost treat this like a wall, just make sure to pay extra attention to all the cracks and crevices. And of course, we have ledges here. So we want to make sure to get all the dirt and grime hiding beneath those. Now over there as well. I think we did a fairly good job there. We still got quite a bit of wall to... Oh, jumped up too quick. That's the stuff. Sometimes you really got to get in there. Sometimes you can switch up the way you're spraying too by pressing C. That'll kind of give you this pivot point from the back of the nozzle that lets you... I find it helps with areas like this where it's a little hard to get in there. Go ahead and get these rocks cleaned. Okay, we'll take that mode off now. I feel we've sufficiently cleaned the underside. Continue around our pond wall, just making sure that we get that clean, because I'd like for that to be finished before we move on. I'm actually kind of glad that they don't separate the two different pond walls and that it's one big thing. And we're just about done. I think we're on this third side here. And we should be just about done. It looks like we're about done. But it looks like I think we've missed the top, I think is what the problem is here. I don't think I went around the top. I could have. Maybe I'm misremembering. No, we did not. Makes sense. Let me just judge how much there is so when it pings, I'm like, man, we really got that cleaned if it's counting all the way up to... Like, there was all that dirt left. They must have been expecting me to leave some behind in the cracks. Oh, ye of little faith. So now we'll go ahead and get the pond rim, and while we're at it, I'll grab the trim here. Make sure that's all dolled up. So far, so good. So I believe from here, after we get this pond, I'll go ahead and get the rest of the trim on the flower beds. Standing back and getting it at a distance kind of gives me a bigger area, but as you'll see, it's leaving behind more stuff than when I was up close, so it's about finding a happy balance. Sometimes it's not so bad to sweep over it multiple times, as long as it doesn't get too repetitive. Like two passes isn't unbearably bad. And 73, that's not quite as far as I thought. I guess 75, so it's pretty close, but maybe after we get these, things will really start to change. $74, hey. And the logic being here, this is all connected to the patio, so obviously this will be the one big unit. And of course, since that's within the boundaries of this thing, the birdhouse, we'll call that next. Edging's cleared, looking beautiful. Alright. Oh, the stand and the house are different. That's interesting. I hear a bird. Maybe it wants to move in here. Okay, birdhouse is complete. And that leaves us at 75%. We'll count it. You know what? This whole area, 75%. I got it the first time. So now that leaves us with a predicament. What's our logic going to be going forward? Where do we start? Where do we end? The obvious choice would be to go kind of around, finish up over here, get this edge, get the grill, but I think what's sticking me there is you have a natural progression to go all the way around and finish off like the patio, the grill, the edging, this, and then finishing up over here with the lawnmower, but that leaves this little cart all by itself. It's kind of out, so we'll go ahead and take care of that. We'll get it out of it. We'll stop. If we get it, we don't have to consider it anymore. It's done. So we'll do that. Got us feeling a little bit nostalgic about our van. Only it cleans up a little bit quicker. Make sure we get off the steering wheels, we clean the interior. That's how I clean my car's interior. I just open the door and start hosing it out. All right. Oh, that was just the seat. False alarm. Now we got the car. Whole thing's done. Excellent news. 76%. We're really kicking butt. Naturally, we'll start with the trim because I feel like that defines our space. And we'll get this outer edge of the trim, kind of starting with the corner there, and then we'll go back over and we'll get the top layer. Then we'll turn a little bit to make sure we get this edge, come back around the outside, grab that edge, and then turn to get the inside edge, and then of course start the process over. Maybe we'll mix it up a little bit, go top edge, bottom edge. What do you guys think? Which one was better? Top edge, bottom edge? Where should we start? Now we get that edge. Can't go around quite so satisfactorily, but we can do that. And it's kind of the same. Switch our angle so we can pick it up like that. And there we have it. Next step, obviously, is going to be the floor. Work our way up to the grill. We don't have to rush to get the grill clean. You gotta show it who's boss. I decide what I clean and when. Just because you stand tall and proud and made of metal does not mean that I would be inclined to clean you first. This is gonna be my way. Plus, I like to work in a clean area. If I can make sure my boots stay clean, you bet that's the way I'm gonna do it. Now we're getting to where some stubborn stains are. As you can see, move a little slower, so I'm hypothesizing here, but I think how it works is the different widths of nozzles have different refresh rates. Like ticks. I don't know if I'm explaining that clearly, but it seems to me that they have different ticks. Like, it'll splatter more water quicker at a certain ratio. So like as you're sweeping, you don't notice it as much as if you're going slow, because you might get the proper amount of ticks regardless of what hose you use. But if you're sweeping, you'll notice that it cleans a lot better with the smaller ones, because I think it refreshes the ticks faster. I'm not even sure if I'm using the proper terminology here, but hopefully my idea is clear enough. But the general idea is, in the time it would take the wide nozzle to hit it one time, the yellow nozzle might hit it 3 times or 4 times. So it's the same, each tick does the same amount of quote unquote cleaning damage, but the smaller nozzle is more effective because it's doing more ticks, like DPS. That's just a theory. I don't know. I haven't looked at the game's code. I could just be built different. Or it could be so obvious everybody knows it and I'm just inflating my ego for no reason, but that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to pamper your ego a little bit. A little bit. We don't gotta get carried away. We gotta make a big fuss about it. Just enjoy. Just because it's obvious doesn't mean it wasn't a genuine discovery, right? 80%. Looks like you're almost done. My girls can't wait to get out there. Well, they're gonna have to, buddy. If I see them out here, I'm gonna spray them. Fair warning. Take my work seriously. Okay. I believe we gotta get this tank still. Okay, tank is done. I think we still have, I don't think the gas supply. Did I get that? The trolley? I guess the gas supply is the tank. Looks like the hose is part of the trolley, so we'll call it good. Just got to get the hood done. As in here again, you can see some of the more stubborn stuff. But if you go slowly, I think it gets rid of it faster than if passing over it multiple times. Of course, the distance. I'm not sure how the distance applies. I'm sure it's just like a straight multiplier. Like, let's assume every tick does 1 cleaning damage, for example, and it takes 50 cleaning damage to get rid of a stubborn stain. We're just pulling numbers out of the air. So the distance acts like a multiplier. If you're super far away, it does half a damage. If you're super close, it does 2 times damage, 4 times damage. I'm not sure like what the optimal range is, what the consideration for 1 straight damage is, but that would be how I imagine it works. The proximity, and then, like I said, the width, it trades area for more damage per second. And then obviously the more powerful it is, or the more powerful the power washer, the more damage it does per tick. So this one does 1, the next one might do 2. And then we have the multiplier for that. Now I'm just freewheeling here. I don't know for sure. I'm not sure how the math works on that. Like if you would get a busted power cleaner after a little while. That's what makes sense to me. If I had to guess, that would be... It's not always like the most direct answer either. I'm not a game designer, but I know that like that's why we have iterative development. We start with an idea. We come up with better ideas. Sometimes the first answer isn't the best answer. So maybe what I'm discovering is the first answer to a solution, and the actual solution is a lot more complex than that. Doesn't make the observation bad. Doesn't make me stupid. I just, in my limited knowledge. You know? In my limited knowledge, I made an observation that could or could not be correct. What use is that? I don't know. Isn't it fun to just think about things and not always have to be right? Someone more knowledgeable can come along and say, oh, that's an interesting thought, but actually, here's how it works. It's an avenue for conversation. So we just throw it out there. I just went right on over to the sofa without even talking about it, didn't I? Unreal. It's got quite a few details going on that make it a little bit of a chore to clean, but it's not nearly as bad as like getting around the chairs, I would say. We can prioritize the stand, kind of see where those lines go, angle ourselves more efficiently. There's lots of stuff to do. Just as always, remember whatever you're working on has 3 dimensions. Always get the backside. If there's an edge that'll hold dirt, it'll hold dirt. I think that's part of the frame. Frame is clear. We'll get the chains too. There we go. Excellent. Now we'll get the underside of the roof since we're down here already. I don't think that'll ping quite the same way because we got to get the top of the roof as well. And this is where like the details can kind of make it difficult to clean a location, and what makes this a bit of a chore because you got to aim the nozzle around all the stuff that you've already cleaned. But conversely, it also helps in that as you're cleaning one thing, you kind of clean another. So hypothetically, you don't really got to do as much double tracking or backtracking. May or may not be helpful. Something to think about, something to weigh. I see we have up there on the corner. I might have to switch to the narrow nozzle. It looks like we're cleaning up pretty good. We have over half. Could be closer to half if we get the edge here. I'm gonna say we're probably good to clean the roof proper. Almost instinctively hit the grime button, but I kind of want to see for myself if I'm capable of figuring this out. I don't think I can jump quite high enough, so we'll go ahead and bring this over here. Give it a little, I don't know why we're turning it. It's just a little boost. The other thing you might notice, not a super important detail I would say, but the closer your nozzle is to your body, the slower it moves. It's like, see, when you're looking up, you kind of move pretty quick. But as I look down, you start to slow down. So if you're someone that needs precision, that's a good way to do it. I'll get these sofa cushions. And I do think these actually have separate parts, so I'm going to go ahead and get the biggest parts. I think the underside's kind of a mess as well. Three-dimensional space and all that. This could be another one of those situations where we activate the C button. Kind of guide it around. I think we're pretty good on that. Three-dimensional space, get the underside of the cushion while you're here. We got some crevices here. Be a little tricky to make sure we get everything, but I think we're pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and get all four sides first. And if it doesn't acknowledge it then, I think it should have acknowledged the bottom, honestly. I think I'm gonna revisit this idea that I'm concocting right mid-thought as I form it. But I'm pretty sure the swing sofa cushion here, yeah, should go ahead and clear. And I can kind of get between these crevices. But I think the problem with that is they kind of go above the back of the swing proper. So I'm gonna have to go back there and finish it up regardless. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the crevice until I know that I need to. Nice, okay. Yep, see, that cleaned up pretty good. Don't need the crevices. We got this. Don't see any green, don't see any green. Now you might be tempted from here to say, well, that's just a leap right over to the shed, go ahead and get that, but this is tiny and it's kind of out on its own, so I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that little buddy. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of my little buddy here. The one thing that kind of frustrates me about this game is the way that it treats metal. Everything that's metal is rusty. And rust is pretty tough to get rid of. It's a little bit worse than just stubborn old stains. So you gotta go slow. Gotta use a fairly small nozzle. I could use the red nozzle to get a little more detailed in here. Cleans the rust a little bit faster, which negates my complaint a little bit. But I'm not super keen on switching nozzles if I don't have to, just because it's kind of silly. I guess for smaller objects, you could make the argument like, it's not that big, just go ahead and switch. I'm not super fond of the area ratio, I guess is how I would put it. I just want the world, man, you know what I mean? I want it to be a big area, and completely clean. Kind of hitting that point where nothing is dinged yet. And as I say that, it dings. Perfect. Oh, stand up. Get under this handle. I think we got that. I think back here could use, yep, little TLC. Motor's done. I think that's all for the lawnmower. I think the lawnmower's done. And I'll show you. We can confirm that all that should be left is this pond rims. We forgot the pond rims. This is what I was telling you about. They got, and you can click that and it'll show you where the pond rims are. I can't believe I missed that. I didn't notice it didn't ding. That's what I'm talking about, man. You'll miss some stuff if you're in a hurry. Okay, starting with the shed, 90%. That means the shed's about 11%, 11 to 10. Not bad for a shed. I guess technically speaking, we could start on the roof. We already got the star. And you can't, I mean, if it's a star, that's one letter away from start. So we'll use that logic to excuse the negligence of starting at the top. 2 ways to clean roofs I find effective. One is the sweeping motion like that. As you back up, downside, you kind of miss up under here. Not a super big deal. Just be sure you go back and get the crevice. The other way I kind of like to do is, it's a little tougher because you gotta be considerate of your background, but you can kind of go back and forth like this. Personally, I like the arch better. Or the arc, whichever you prefer. I like the arc better. Because it almost feels like mopping, and it makes me feel a lot more graceful. It feels like it covers more area faster too. Which is great if you have a high pressure system going on, or if the grime's not super grimy. But you know, the efficiency of area depends on the style of mess that we're dealing with and the intricacy of the project. It doesn't work so good for like the lawnmower motor because you're going to be passing all the little nitty gritties. But I digress. Now I'll clean the edge, because I'm sure this counts as the shed roof too. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll kind of get in on the eave of the whole thing as well, because it is 3-dimensional space, remember. So yeah, they try to hide it, but once you know, you'll never forget. I got a lot of grime up under the edges. Oh, I talked a little bit about the pros of buying the extensions, but not the cons, which is you're gonna have to change the extension if you're in a cramped area or too close. There's trade-offs to everything. It's not even that big of a deal, but it is something to consider. In big areas like this, it's nice to have an extension because you could like clean that from over here or something, but no big deal. Now we'll get the shed proper. Most of the shed is finished now. 93%, closing in on 95. I think the door hinges might be rusty. They've been keeping away from the rust, I think, because people may not have upgraded their power washer just yet. Isn't that satisfying? Now, I noticed that the big wall did not clear. That would explain why. Some stuff hiding up along the edge there. That kind of explained part of it, but not all of it. So what are we missing? Is it just like all one piece? I guess that could be it. Kind of like the doghouse, all the walls. All the walls should be cleaned. It's worth noticing we hit 95%. We still have more than 3 things to clean. You see me switching to horizontal. One thing I'll do is switch up when I'm doing frames. The windows in particular, as you'll see if I go over them quickly, they get some stubborn grime, so it doesn't hurt to get your nozzle out and go over the frame. It's always on the edges, I've noticed. And it looks like they didn't separate the edge or the frame from the window on the shed, so that's nice. Some things do. And that's window frames, I'm telling you, that's where 90% of your oopsie, I missed all 3 dimensions. Window frames you got to attack from every angle just to be sure you get enough grime. And I think it's because they're relatively small compared to like a big area like a wall. So that little bit makes up a higher percentage. Like let's say the cutoff is 95%. Well, 5% of a wall is going to be a lot more grime than 5% of a windowsill. So that's where my thinking is on that. 97%. We're closing in on. We're coming in hot. I'm surprised that we have more than 3 items. I know we've probably got a window on the side. We've got the remainder of the shed. I think we've got another plant hanger, but that's 3 right there. Wonder what else we're missing. We'll find out soon enough. I could check, but there's no urgency. We're just taking our time. I don't know if I got all the grime up under there or not. All that blathering about it, you'd think I would. It looked like I did. I don't know if those count or not. It doesn't look like they've got any dirt on them. I don't know if I sprayed them yet. You'd think there would be some grime in between. Maybe there is. No, I pressed tab and didn't see any. Oh, just a little bit of dirt on the wall there. Got some on the cracks. So let's see what we're missing here. We got well, I mean the whole wall, but like I said, we got the shed, the window, and the plant hanger, so that should have triggered our little check bar. Ooh! What did we just finish? The shed foundation. I didn't even realize that was a separate part. Well, there you have it. On the bright side, that means we haven't missed any other things since we've identified the other 3 parts we have to clean. That was pretty forgiving on that. That was pretty forgiving. I'm surprised. Planter's done. Last thing, window. I didn't notice a gnome either. That's pretty strange. We got our challenge done. It was the earliest segment, 12 stones. Yep, job complete. Hey, Doc Cal here. Got a job for you over at my folks' bungalow when you can fit it in. Well, we'll see about that. $600. Not bad. Enjoy our little time lapse here. That's a beautiful before and after. Doc, the yard looks fantastic. There are a couple budding mountaineers already clambering over that rock garden, and I intend to join them. Thanks again on a great job. If I hear of anyone in need, I'll send them your way. Well, thanks, Calvin. I appreciate that. Make sure we didn't miss any messages. He had a bunch of jobs for me. Got all that clean. Alright, well, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow, where we will tackle one of the various levels that we've unlocked through this one. Thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you then.